So when these healthcare, AI, CPG, sustainable, or e-commerce companies come to you and they present a deck per se that you need to review to see if they're a good company or not, what are you looking for in that deck? What is helpful? Like what is a good deck look like for you? Again, not a lot of entrepreneurs that are trying to get in here and learn from you and trying to maybe possibly pitch you. What's good for you in a deck?
Yeah, a couple of things. Everyone has their own kind of preferences, which will drive an entrepreneur crazy. They'll all tell you something's good or bad, and you'll hear the same thing a million times. But for me, I'm an ex-Appler, so design's really important. I have a hard time when somebody's in like a CPG startup, it's customer facing, and the deck is like trash. It's hard for me to believe that you're going to create a beautiful product for the market and your deck is rough. It's hard. Beyond that, I think you need to hit all the kind of standard things. I need to understand the market. You need to understand the team, the founder and the team. Super, super, super important. I really need to understand where the company's going. I expect that you're at a stage now, you're just trying to get it right, and that's okay. But how big is your vision? And then what do you want to see at the end? Maybe that's selling, maybe that's IPO, maybe something else. And all these things are okay. But I need to understand what the direction of the company is from the deck.
Is that communicating the goals, or is that communicating, what they need to get to that goal? Like, what is that? How does someone kind of express that to you?
Yeah, good point. I feel like the timeline style is great, right? So this is where we are, and this is what we've done to get here.
Yeah.
And also, this is where we're going, and these are the things that have to happen for that to happen. And then if I believe those things are going to happen, or that you as a team can make that happen, I'm likely to invest, right? It also just shows your thinking, your rationale. You don't even have to be right, and no one's going to hold you to it. But just seeing the process that you went through in your head to decide, and that's the path in itself is enough.
Your website says you bet on the jockey and not the horse. So talking about founders, what are the qualities of successful founders that you like to bet on?
By the way, I like the crowd, the Tam Sum Sam folks. I appreciate that. That's my tribe. But yeah, the jockey is at this stage, early stage, is always more important than the horse. The company is going to change 5, 10, 20 times. You're going to take whatever system you built already, you're going to rebuild that system 3 times before you get, to the next scale. Yeah. So it's not about necessarily what you're doing right this second, but is that person and is that team the right team to hear a new idea, iterate their own ideas? Are they so dogmatic about what they're doing that they won't change? Or will they see, like Slack, an opportunity and pivot the company into that direction? I think Slack was like a gaming company or something like that before. If you have that vision to just put it all on the table in the right direction, then that's where we're looking back.
Yeah. How about the cadence of keeping up to date with your investment portfolio companies? If there was that type of pivot, how is it best for them to communicate that with you? Because obviously that's probably a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, I've had it unsuccessfully, by the way. So my company was initially a facial recognition time clock company. We were clocking in, clocking out for work. And then we realized along the way that, facial recognition for corporations is a much bigger market. It's a much bigger idea. Let's move the company to that idea. So I went to the investors and said, hey, we're going to stop doing this whole thing that you invested in that I sold to you. Now we're going to do this other thing. We're going to be a facial recognition AI company. And it's like, well, Brian, we believe in you. You go with God. We're not putting more money in, but go do it. Right? So I learned a lot from that. You need the conviction, also need the funds to make that kind of pivot.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of conversations like that going on right now with the pandemic. Everybody's kind of pivoting. There's a lot of uncertainty. How are you seeing everything that's happening? Not so much in your portfolio, but how are you guys changing your strategy with the pandemic happening and investment strategy?
Yeah, I would say no, actually. We're a 10-year fund. We're in the first year. We believe the macroeconomic environment is going to return to something different, but more like normal soon. a year, 2 years, whatever, but it's not going to be 10, right? We're not going to be doing what we're doing now for the next decade. Me and you can go to a baseball game again, hopefully, sometime in the next 10 years, right? And so if you're thinking that long, you don't have to necessarily change how you invest, but you should definitely have a lens for, can the company you're investing in now navigate this microeconomic environment to get to the kind of normalized macroeconomics over a 10-year period. So we definitely think of it a little bit that way, and yet also try to stay steady on the path.
Yeah, I mean, you're in some good sectors too, especially healthcare going on, sustainability. Those companies that are in that stage of growth in hiring or trying to get to that next level, even if it is through funding, what do you look at? And what do you kind of guide them for the growth strategy and hiring? And I think this kind of falls into culture too, and having a good company culture. How do you kind of help them along the way, or are you completely hands off and just kind of let them run their own shit?
Yeah, as a former entrepreneur, I'm definitely thoughtful about how we guide, but usually guidance is necessary. People, they pick us because they want our expertise, right? To help them to do their thing even bigger and better and faster, right? So I often say to founders, my job is to illuminate for you your own North Star, right? Your own truth. I'm here to kind of give you some variables that you may or may not have considered that either make you double down on what you're doing or make you maybe illuminate a different path, but the path still has to come from you. It can't come from me. I'm only here to provide more and more data. And I think founders really appreciate that level of adultness,